Hello, I'm Eve Stanway, breakup and divorce coach, and I am welcoming you to my free webinar where I will be talking a little bit about my landmark breakthrough course, Navigating with the Heart, supporting children through separation and divorce. And I'm glad that you are here with me watching this across YouTube or from the webinar. From wherever it is that you happen to be, I welcome you here today. So this course is for parents, carers, grandparents, anywhere really, who is trying to support their children when family turmoil happens. Whether you've been navigating separation for some time or whether you are standing right at the beginning of it, I want you to know that this is a space that I'm creating for you within this course, Navigating the Heart. It's a place where you can pause, breathe, and begin to gather the tools that you need to support your children through one of life's most tender transitions, with honesty, with compassion, and with the heart. I know how hard it can be to speak the truth when everything inside you wants to protect your children from pain, from distress, from discomfort, because of course you want your children to be happy. I know the fear of saying something wrong and of opening a conversation with your children where you're so uncertain, where you're potentially terrified of where it might end. But here's what I want you to begin to hold close to yourself. The clarity we avoid is the confusion that they carry forwards. So when we avoid making things clear for our children, we live them in a space where they are carrying confusion forwards. And in that, it teaches our children not to ask. So one of the things that people know when they work with me is I have 2 dogs and 2 cats. And that was my dog that you could hear in the background. You hear my dog on my Instagrams or my Facebooks, and they're all very much part of my life. So to get back. So when we are having these difficult conversations, much like when I'm recording this video, it is not about being perfect. It's not. It's not about having the right words every time. It's not about having the right things happen every time. Because you do not need to be perfect. You just need the courage to start. Because when we dare to speak the truth, we teach our children that they can handle their own truths. So what you say in these moments really does matter. That's what I've found. But it's how you say it that matters more. Your intention, the way that you handle it, the way that you respond, the way that you are willing to be honest. And we'll be exploring how to bring calm, connection, and clarity into the conversations that we just feel are impossible. And that's what I aim to do with Navigating with the Heart. I want to show you how to do it in a way that still protects your child's innocence whilst helping them grow into their own strength. Because divorce and separation from children, for children, isn't a one-day event. It's something that will be then going on in their lives for a long time. It'll be part of their lives. And for my own, when my parents went through their divorce and separation, it was something that was happening. It's still happening, actually, even though I'm a grown woman with my own children, it's still happening. So I call this way of communicating, navigating with the heart, because when we are present, even in heartbreak, we can show our children what love looks like when it is a brave kind of love, because that's what we have to be as parents. We have to be brave. So how do I go about doing this? Well, I decided that what I would do is that I would record, professionally record videos that anybody who was going through my course, they could listen to and watch whenever they chose at a time that was convenient for them. I also created workbooks because I thought it would be useful for people to have some resources that they could use at their own leisure. I curated a list of a reading list of books that I have found to be useful, both along the way when I was going through my divorce and breakup, but also books that you might find useful. These are the kind of books that I recommend to clients. There's a lot of books that I recommend, but these are my kind of major books. One of the books that I'm recommending is actually my own book, Conversations at the Shoreline, which is a book that gives a really clear structure, which I outline in my course as well, of how to clarify, communicate, and correct when things don't go right. I also thought about creating a community, which I have done within my course, which is a safe, close-knit, offline community space where everybody who joins my course will be able to be a member of that community for 3 months. And then if they decide they would like to carry it on, they will be able to for a small cost. And there'll be audio versions as well. But most significantly, by having the community, what it means is that I will be able to come into that community, and I will be starting on the 10th of April, and I will be coming in weekly and recording the sessions that I do. So if there's nobody there, it doesn't matter. And if there are people there, then I will be able to interact with them and ask you to answer your questions. And I will be able to talk about topics that are relevant. These are topics like how we talk about the fact divorce and separation is taking place, how we talk about new partners, step parents, other children, how we talk about pets, because in a divorce and breakup, pets have to go. They will go to one home or another home, or maybe they will cross, or maybe there was one person who really liked the pets and someone else who didn't like the pets. There's loads and loads and loads of different conversations that happen around divorce and breakup. And being in the community and through these workbooks, we'll be able to talk about all the conversations. There really isn't any limit. So talking to children about divorce and breakup is tricky. It's a technical thing, and it's isolating, and it's also emotionally overwhelming. It can be really difficult at times. We can feel alone. We can feel like we've messed it up. We can actually feel really quite dishonest with our children sometimes, because we know stuff that they don't know, and we're going to need to tell them about things that we know are going to upset them. And I mean, there's not a day in a parent's life when they want to be in a situation where they know they're going to have a conversation with their child, which is going to actually be upsetting and stressing for that child. Sorry, I'm just going to put my dog on a lead because she is fussing. So the reason why I created this course was because people who are going through this often feel very alone. They feel very isolated, and sometimes they can receive a lot of bad information. People who, no matter how well-intentioned, they can say things that just don't fit your family, don't fit your ethos, don't fit your outlook. And sometimes people can give you advice to do things that just feel wrong in your heart. Now, when I'm offering help and support and advice, I've got a wide range of experience. I've had hundreds, thousands actually, of hours working with clients. So not only have I read a lot and studied a lot, but I've also had face-to-face experience having thousands of conversations with individuals from all different walks of life, all different ages, all different stages in the process. And this course, the work that I do actually in general, my website, all the resources that I offer, all are around sharing what I've learned. But it's not just sharing what I've learned and saying, do it this way. It's recognizing that the day-to-day problem with having conversations is that it can feel that we want to put it off because we're not sure that we're going to get it right. And I think that producing this course and the work that I do, it is a call to action. It's a call to action to all parents to recognize that the choices they make, the conversations that they dare to have with their children, the willingness to listen to our children, the willingness to hear how unhappy our children are at times, the willing to share the fact that we don't know. We don't know what's going to happen. We do not know how this one's going to turn out, but what we do know is that we are going to be there with our children and we are going to keep on going. Because this messaging, having the courage, daring, being willing to parent with the kind of courage and bravery that we need in order to support our children through difficult times. It's important to inspire people. It's important to encourage people. That is the community space. That is the reason for doing this. And it is a really, feel very, very strongly, actually. I feel very, very impassioned because I wish that my parents had had this when they went through their divorce when I was a kid. I wish that they'd had a better understanding that the consequences of their avoidance of certain conversations, of putting things off, of perhaps not giving me the explanations that I need, had a long-term impact in how I looked at the world, how I looked at other people, how I viewed myself. And I have seen this, taking my own children through this, and then working with countless couples, individuals. It doesn't really matter where your background is. It doesn't matter what your demographic is. It doesn't matter what your marriage or partnership is. Being a parent is always the same. Sometimes we're parenting with someone who is genuinely a really difficult person. Sometimes we're parenting with somebody who's got no empathy for us or our children. Sometimes we're parenting with someone who just walking away. Sometimes we're parenting with somebody who really is quite toxic or controlling or difficult. I avoid using the phrase narcissistic because it's kind of thrown around a lot. And what I see is words like narcissism, they're thrown and then counter accusations are thrown, and it doesn't really make any difference. As soon as parents are in conflict with each other, children suffer. Because most conflict is around emotional levers, and the most emotional lever that we can have is children. But also, children deserve better than that. I generally don't work directly with children. I have chosen to do my work with parents, working with dads. I work with a lot of dads. And the reason why I work with dads is because I can see that in society, a lot of dads don't know where to go. They haven't got a blueprint. They haven't got a framework about how to be the parents that their children need. But I also see that the consequence of that is a lot of women are being left to parent by themselves. I can also see that sometimes women's behavior is not very good, and sometimes men's behavior is not very good. And there's so many complexities within all of that. But in the end, no matter how difficult your ex is, they are your child's other parent. And as soon as they become the enemy, half of your child becomes the enemy too. So, I'm not naive, and I'm not simplistic about how complicated these things are, especially when there's money, health, wider family, betrayal, hopelessness, mental health, physical health, disability, so many different wider impacts that hit as well. But in the end, being brave, speaking, having the courage to speak, is the thing that will make a difference to a child in the long term. So I'm going to be messaging on this again and again and again. I'm going to keep the messaging going, because with all the conversations over the internet, with all the conversations in all the spaces, I'm just coming at it from a very, very simple angle, which is, how do we use our hearts, our sense of right and wrong, our compassion, our love, and our care for our children in order to support children through separation, divorce, family turmoil? So please do share, please like, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, please comment, please come and explore the course, please book a call with me, take a look at my website, read my book. But most of all, please know when you are courageous enough to have a conversation with your children, even when they say things that might be quite upsetting and quite difficult, when you are willing to go with them through this journey, alongside them, you are changing the future. Okay? When you choose to make this decision, you are reaching into the future and you are making it different. It's like all these films like Back to the Future and all these time travel films where people go back in order to change what's happening now. Well, what we do right now can change what is happening in the future. And in this, it's your children's future. So I hope this has been useful for you. I want you to know that you are not alone. This is difficult. I created this course because 8 years ago I was on my knees and I had no idea how to do it or where to turn. And I made a promise that when I did learn, I would share it. And that's what I'm doing right now. So thank you so much for your time. And I look forward to seeing you soon. All the best.